The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. All right, welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We were talking about the American League and National League playoffs, how we see it going this year, previewing the divisions, and we both have the Cubs winning the World Series. I have them over the Red Sox. You have them over the Rangers.
Yeah, I think the Rangers make a really nice run after they win that wild card game. They'll have a ton of momentum, and then I think they'll be able to beat the Astros. Their bullpen might implode again, or their pitching staff like they did in 2015.
It would be cool to see that the Rangers have a nice run. They kind of deserve it. They
kind of deserve a World Series the most out of a lot of teams right now.
Out of being one out away against St. Louis in 2011 and then have David Freese go off. That kind of sucks. And
I mean, they were up 3-2 in that series.
Yeah, it was what? I think they were one strike away at one point.
They were one strike away from winning the World Series.
Neftali Feliz was out there, I think.
And that was his rookie year. I think he had 40 saves, or maybe it was his second year he had 40 saves. And
then the year before that they lost to the Giants for the Giants' first.
Yeah, they lost that in 5 games.
Right. So let's move on here to I guess we'll start with the MVPs of each league. Who do you have winning the AL MVP? Is it another Trout year?
Yeah.
Okay. I
was really debating hard between Trout and Altuve.
Altuve is a very good
I'm
choice.
going to go with Altuve.
Okay.
But I think if the Astros make the playoffs, it'll be him. And if he has like as good of a year again, because like the thing that hurts Trout is how bad his team is.
Right.
Where Altuve, I think, could have won it last year easily with hitting 340, 22 homers, 30 stolen bases.
Altuve is a great player. He's definitely the anchor of that Astros team, and he's really good. It's cool how short he is. I think he's shorter. He's shorter than me even.
I think he's 5'4".
Yeah, he's like 5'4", 5'5".
He still hit 22 home runs last year.
Yeah, I mean he's he's really impressive, and he's really good defensively, and he's a great player.
I'll go with Altuve.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I also did not pick Mike Trout. I'm gonna go with Mookie Betts, mainly because I have the Red Sox in the World Series against the Cubs. And I think Mookie Betts is going to kind of carry them there through the playoffs. We saw how good he was last year. I don't think there's going to be much of a regression.
I mean, maybe home power-wise.
Yeah, like you said with the power.
I don't think he'll hit 31 home runs.
I could see that. But, I have him winning the AL MVP. He was really close last year. A lot of people picked him over Mike Trout, I think. He was really close last year.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, the thing that helps Altuve is the fact that the Astros missed the playoffs last year. If they make the playoffs this year, I think that'll really help his case, especially if he has the kind of year he did last year.
Yeah.
Who knows if he can hit 20 home runs again, though?
He's
a small guy to be hitting 20 home runs.
I know.
He probably loves the Crawford boxes in left field, although who knows, maybe he'll get a couple more now that Towles Hill is gone.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have those players falling up the hill trying to catch a ball.
Yeah, who knows if he's strong enough to hit one out to dead center, though.
Okay, your NL MVP.
Rizzo.
Okay, you have Rizzo. I have Bryant winning it again. But I think those could definitely be the two favorites.
I feel like it's Rizzo's turn this year.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, he's kind of the guy that deserves it on the Cubs. I mean, I just kind of feel like because he's been here really from the start.
Yeah, he has.
He was here since 2012, and he's really the leader of the team.
I think if he hits a few more home runs, like 5 more or something.
I mean, if he can hit maybe 35 home runs.
Yeah, because he's been getting to 30, but he can't really get too much past 30.
Yeah,
and Bryant, I think, hit 39 last year, didn't he?
I think Bryant will hit 40, at least 40 this year.
I hope so, because that's a good milestone. And I think Nolan Arenado beat him out and hit more home runs. But if
Arenado, I think he hit over 40.
But if he wasn't playing in Colorado, that probably wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, he'd probably be at 35, 36. I think it's Rizzo's turn this year. I mean, unless Brian goes off again. I mean, it's not. I mean, this is literally something that could go either way. Or who knows? There could be maybe Harper returns to MVP form.
True.
I mean, really, there's so many good guys to choose from. I mean, it's really, really, really tough. I mean, it kind of just depends how the teams, their respective team seasons go.
Yeah, true. Okay, so I have Chris Bryant, you have Anthony Rizzo. Either way, we both have a Cub, so that's exciting. AL Cy Young, who do you got?
Sale. I think he finally gets it.
I also have Sale. I think it's time for him to get it.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be on a better team now.
He'll benefit from moving away from U.S. Cellular Field.
Guarantee rate field, that is.
Guaranteed loss field.
The guaranteed loss. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be a 100-loss season for the White Sox, but it could be pretty close to that.
Yeah, I feel like the roster is better than it was in 2013 when they lost 99 games.
Could be the 2012 Cubs version on the South Side over there, where they're losing 100 games. So I hope that's not the case for their fans' sake, but it would be beneficial if that happened.
If you want to go to games, it's beneficial when you can just buy $6 tickets and really good seats.
Yeah, well, did you hear they have, which I think you told me about too, but they have, it's like $39, and it's for lower level tickets, probably the 100 level corners, I'm assuming.
Well, you find out the day
all
of
the
the
April
game.
home games.
Every April and May home game for like $40.
Oh, it's April and May?
I think maybe it's just April. I
heard on the radio April, but maybe it's both.
Yeah, it's like $39. And you find out the day of each game where your seats will be.
Right. I'm assuming if they're doing this, it's probably all on the 100 level, but it's probably in the corners.
If you were a season ticket holder, wouldn't you be pissed off if you hear that people are getting these games for like $39, total to go to all these games?
Yeah. I know they're trying to fill it up.
Yeah, it excludes home opener though. Except you can purchase that one for an additional $20 with your package.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who cares about the home opener, especially when your team's not good? It's really not that important. Unless you want to see a guaranteed Jose Quintana start. So we both have Chris Sale. Okay, the NL Cy Young.
Kershaw.
I also have Clayton Kershaw.
I mean, it's so tough to pick against him. That's the thing. Like, if he didn't get injured last year, he would have won it. If he didn't injure his back, he would have absolutely beaten out Scherzer.
Yeah,
he would have beaten out Scherzer. He would have beaten out Lester. He would have beaten out Hendricks.
Yeah. I don't know who I think might finish second. I think it'll either be. I don't know about Lester. I mean, I hope he's in consideration.
I don't think Lester's going to have that 230, 240 ERA.
Now I
think he'll jump around to maybe 280, maybe low threes, which is still really good. I think Hendricks might be due maybe to go up to the 280s, low threes also.
I do think somebody like Arrieta could pitch like how Lester did last year. I could see that happening because, I mean, let's not forget, Arrieta won 2 World Series games in Cleveland and dominated those 2 games. He pitched really well.
He's got it. Yeah, he needs to cut down on his walk. So, if he could go back to his 2015 form, that'd be the greatest thing ever for the Cubs.
Oh yeah,
if he could just go back to having like one of the greatest seasons ever.
You have Lester Arrieta back how he was in 2015, and Kyle Hendricks. I mean, oh my gosh, and plus you have the veteran Lackey, and then hopefully Anderson can stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, if Arrieta has that kind of season, there's no chance he's re-signing. They're not going to offer him the kind of money to stay.
No, yeah, I know. I don't know where he'd end up, but yeah,
someone will. I mean, the Yankees.
They would not have the money to sign.
Well, I think they would. They just wouldn't want to give it to him because it's like they'd be like, well, last time you did this, the next year you kind of fell off a little.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to. If he keeps the walks down, he'll be fine. It's just his command. He would just lose his command at the worst times in games. Once he got to 5th, 6th inning, he'd just start walking all these guys, and he looked hittable. So, I mean, I think he'll have a little better season, hopefully a little more consistent, except I've got Kershaw winning the Cy Young. It's pretty much his award to win every year.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I think Clayton Kershaw will win it as well. Okay, AL Rookie of the Year. This one took a little bit of thinking for me.
I'm going with Benintendi on the Red Sox.
You're going to go with Benintendi. I'm going with the Yankees' Aaron Judge, the replacement for Mark Teixeira. Or no, I'm sorry. He's not the replacement for Mark Teixeira. That's Greg Bird.
His replacement is Greg Bird.
Yeah, that's Greg Bird, who's another player that's supposed to be really good. Aaron Judge is an outfielder, I think. But yeah,
he's going to play right field.
I'm going with Aaron Judge. He had a really good spring. So I heard anyway. I looked it up. He had a pretty good spring. It looks like he's another Bronx bomber. He can hit a lot of home runs, and that team, especially with the short porch in right field. I mean, that team could be hitting a lot of home runs. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge, kind of an out of the box pick, I guess.
All right, and then that brings us to our final one, the NL Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
I'm going with Dansby Swanson.
I'm also going with Dansby Swanson. I think he's going to clearly be the favorite.
Just think about how the Diamondbacks are going to feel if he just goes off this year.
Tony La Russa can't run a team. That's clear to see. He trades Dansby from the Diamondbacks to the
that was
Braves.
Dave Stewart.
Oh, was that not Tony?
Well, La Russa, I think, is like the kind of the team president type.
I thought he
role.
was the GM. Is he not the GM?
No. That was Dave
clue.
Stewart.
Okay, Dave Stewart.
He got fired at the end of the season.
He got fired for the bad moves that he made. Yeah, and then they signed Zach Greinke to that huge contract, and he didn't pitch very well last year.
No, and he's been horrible this spring. He's like lost all his velocity on his fastball.
Yeah, that's too bad because they're a likable team with Paul Goldschmidt and
AJ Pollock,
Willie Peralta,
Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah. So I mean it's a pretty likable team. But they have a tough time in the West, that's for sure. All right, so that's how we see the season playing out. 2017 MLB baseball season. I have the Cubs over the Red Sox in the World Series, just to recap, and Ryan has the Cubs over the Rangers. So we have the Cubs repeating. Hopefully our Chicago bias didn't get too much in the way of that, but, I mean, the Cubs clearly are the best team going into the season, and they just won an epic World Series. So, yeah, I think it's not too far off.
The thing that I like about the way they won it is they figured out how to win the games at the end, like that Giants game.
Yeah.
Game 4 against the Giants when they had they
torched the Giants.
Yeah, when
bullpen.
they had the greatest comeback in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
In the playoffs,
right.
And then game 1 against the Dodgers, they were able to do it. It's like they figured out how to win, and that's the thing you like.
Yeah.
Because that's how you keep winning. You find ways to win. And just kind of that experience, you know what you need to do when it gets to the end of those games, and they figured out how to do it a lot this postseason. And you got to figure that they're going to be tough to finish off this year.
Yeah, I definitely think so. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to talk about the teams in the organization, or in Chicago, the professional sports teams in Chicago. We're going to rank how they're run. I think you can probably guess who's last right now, but
you can probably guess who's going to get the top spots and the bottom spots.
So we'll talk about that. That's a little fun segment that we have coming up next, and then after that, we're going to be talking about the Bulls. I think they're a game and a half out of a playoff spot under Miami, which is pretty impressive. Miami started the season 11-30, and now they're like one game under 500. So it's pretty impressive what Miami's been able to do.
Yeah, Spoelstra could be a candidate for Coach of the Year with the way he's turned that team around.
Definitely could. He's a good coach. We didn't think so at first, but he's turned out to be one of the best coaches in the NBA. We'll talk about all that stuff coming up next. Sports Renegades, SportsTownChicago.com. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.